If you don't already know, then let me be the first to tell you that the future is right now. There are so many new things to be discovered, so many things to be invented, so many things to be improved upon. And this new moon in Aquarius is setting the stage for all of it. This is the dawning of a new era, a brand new beginning. However, it's going to require relinquishing of the past. Quick, fast, and in a hurry, all right? But needless to say, this is one of the new moons of 2024 that you're definitely not gonna wanna sleep on, all right? So in this video, I will be discussing everything you need to know about the upcoming new moon in Aquarius, the numerology, the astrology, some manifestation tips, and some messages from spirits. So stick around, you definitely don't wanna miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If this is our first time meeting, welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer, healer, and intuitive, and I'm the founder of divinefeminineworks, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new here, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today's video is all about the upcoming new moon in Aquarius going down on Friday, February 9th, 2024 at 5:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so you know the deal, especially if you've watched any of my previous videos. New moons are all about new beginnings. It's the time when you set new intentions and you plant new seeds. The lunar cycle is starting again, and in a way, so can we. The slate is wiped clean, and we get a do-over. We get to start all over. Now this, like I said in the intro, is a very interesting new moon because not only is it very powerful, but this is the time when we are really beginning to transform our realities, all right? So Aquarius is the hot button sign of right now, right? Because Pluto just went into Aquarius, which is a major thing. And if you want to know all about that, I did a video all about it right here. Link will be in the description box below, so definitely check that out. But we've got a whole slew of planets in the sign of Aquarius, and we will continue to have more planets entering Aquarius as February marches on. So wherever Aquarius is in your natal chart is where there's a lot of activity, perhaps a lot of intense energy, and definitely the area of life where you get a new start, where you can plant new seeds. Now, what's really interesting about this upcoming new moon is that we are planting seeds of the future. A lot of us have been embroiled in things that have happened in the past. With everything going on in the world, a lot of us are really present and we're really focusing on what's going on now. However, this new moon is asking you to look beyond what you can see. Look beyond what's in your immediate environment and envision a new future that may or may not look anything like your current reality. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this new moon in Aquarius. And of course, we're going to start with one of my favorite topics, the numerology. I love examining the numerology of anything really, because it always gives you a lot more information about what's going on. So when it comes to the numerology of this new moon in Aquarius, this new moon is sponsored by the number 2, because this new moon is going down at 20 degrees of Aquarius. 2 plus 0 equals 2. So 2 is the magic number. And if you've been paying attention, last month's new moon in Capricorn was at 20 degrees. Next month's new moon in Pisces is also going to be at 20 degrees. So the new moons of the beginning of 2024 are all sponsored by the number 2. So when it comes to the number 2, there's 2 important facets of this number. Number 1, the number 2 denotes partnership. It denotes teamwork, cooperation, coming together, right? So with this new moon allowing us to plant seeds of the future, understand that there may be others that really come in and help us, others that we may be able to partner with or team up with, who can make the dream happen. You know that phrase, teamwork makes the dream work. So you may start to notice different people orbiting into your sphere, coming into your reality, who are here to team up with you to help you build this new realistic future, right? Now, the other facet of the number 2 is the notion of choice. Typically, when you got two things, a lot of times we have to choose, right? There's a choice, there's a decision that has to be made. And with us being on the brink of this whole new world, the choice inherently with this new moon in Aquarius is like, are we sticking with the old or are we going to venture into the future with the new? Now, in case you've been living under a rock, the old is kind of crumbling right now. A lot of our governmental systems, faith-based systems, a lot of systems in general are starting to deteriorate, and they're making way for a new future that will most definitely look different than what we are used to. However, some people are very much embroiled in what was, what they're comfortable with, their comfort zone. So it may be really scary to venture into the future that is largely unknown, especially if you haven't really envisioned this new future. You're like, what am I even stepping into? Maybe I should stick to what I know, what's worked, and all of that good stuff, right? So inherent in the energy of the number 2 is choice, right? Now, in terms of the mundane numerology, the number 2 is a very feminine number, has a lot to do with intuition. When it comes to the zodiac signs associated with the number 2, we have Taurus, which is the second sign of the zodiac, which is interesting because currently in the sign of Taurus is the planet Uranus, and Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So with this number 2 going down at this new moon in Aquarius, Uranus being in Taurus, Taurus being associated with the number 2, it's all about being shaken out of your comfort zone. Taurus is all about comfort. Uranus is all about unpredictability. And so it's this element or this energy of being shaken out of your comfort zone in order to envision and step into a new future. If I had to sum up this new moon in Aquarius, that would be the phrase that pays, right? Now, the number 2 is also associated with the sign of Cancer. Cancer is highly intuitive and psychic, which really bodes well with the energy of the number 2, because this isn't just envisioning a future from a mental standpoint. It's also using your intuition. Uranus as a planet, which is again the modern ruler of Aquarius, has a lot to do with our intuition. It has a lot to do with what you can't see, but what you can sense and feel. And inherent in the energy of the new moon in Aquarius is, again, the number 2, which has a lot to do with our intuition. And then unsurprisingly, when you look at the tarot card associated with the number 2, it is the High Priestess, which is everything about intuition, the veil, mysteries, right? So while we're envisioning this new future, we're not just thinking about it from a mental standpoint. We are envisioning it using our intuition, allowing our intuition to guide us into the unknown. And remember, your intuition will never fail you. So this is the time to really, really rely on it. Now, one of the other things in terms of the numerology that I like to examine, especially with the new and the full moons, are the Sabian symbols. And essentially the Sabian symbols are archetypal stories that correspond with each degree of the zodiac. So because this new moon in Aquarius is going down at 20 degrees Aquarius, I looked at the Sabian symbol for 20 degrees Aquarius. And it is a woman disappointed and disillusioned, courageously facing the future. Now, if this doesn't accurately describe what I just explained, I don't know what does. So remember, I said inherent in the number 2 is the concept of choice. And this choice at this point in time is, do I cling to the past or do I bravely face the future? And 20 degrees of Aquarius is just that. It's bravely facing the future because clearly the past is no longer working. What we've adhered to, the structures and the organization of society, it's crumbling because it's no longer working. And so if you choose to cling to the past, understand that it's like picking a deck chair on the Titanic. You may be able to enjoy it for a little while, but obviously you were on a sinking ship. It's time to look to the future. Not even just look to the future in the sense that, okay, things will be created and things will be different. No, you create the future. And that's what I love about this new moon in Aquarius. The future is now and you are creating it. And where does that all begin? It begins here in the mind. So now that we've talked about the numerology, let's talk a little bit about Aquarian energy and new moon energy in general to get a certain general sense and flavor for this new moon in Aquarius. Innovative, inventive, rebellious, thinking outside the box, futuristic. Those are just some of the keywords to describe Aquarian energy. We are in the age of Aquarius, and so you already kind of have a sense of the energy signature of Aquarius. It's inventive, it's technological, it is information overload, right? This is the age that we're living in, and this is the energy that's at our disposal for this new moon in Aquarius. So think of it like that cartoon, The Jetsons, right? And how, oddly enough, that cartoon, I think, debuted in the 60s. And a lot of what it showed is actually the life that we're living now. Zoom meetings, fast food. The only thing that we don't necessarily have is flying cars yet, but I think that that is very close to coming to a reality. But it's this very futuristic energy, right? It's this idea of envisioning the future. Now, when it comes to the zodiac signs, every zodiac sign corresponds with a different part of the physical body. And so when we're talking about Aquarius, we're actually talking about the cones of the eyes. So when I use the word envision, I'm being very intentional about that because Aquarius is all about envisioning. Not like a Pisces. Pisces is like imagining. Aquarius is literally envisioning. So this is the new moon where we plant seeds of the future that we want to see and experience, okay? And of course, when it comes to new moon energy, it's all about planting new seeds and setting new intentions. That's why I call this new moon planting seeds of the future. So it really behooves you to sit and think and envision the future that you particularly want to have. Now, when I say you in particular, I'm also being very intentional about it because this is not the new moon where you're relying on other people's visions or structures from the past. I don't care how crazy, how wacky, how delusional this future that you're envisioning seems. Hold that vision because that is ultimately what is going to become your reality. This is the time to think outside the box. This is the time to not rely on what you know, but to envision something that may not even exist yet. That's the essence of the Aquarian energy signature. Okay, so go wild, go crazy. Aquarius is all about rebelliousness, breaking the mold. And these are the type of seeds that you want to plant at this new moon in Aquarius. All right. So now that we've talked about the Aquarian energy signature, let's talk about the astrology and what will be going on in the sky at the time of this new moon in Aquarius. All right, my loves, let's talk astrology. So like I mentioned before, there's a slew of planets getting ready to enter Aquarius and already in Aquarius. So currently we've got the sun in Aquarius. The moon will be in Aquarius, hence why it is a new moon. The sun and the moon will be conjunct. Mercury is currently in Aquarius. And shortly around the time of the new moon, Mars and Venus will enter Aquarius. So like I said, look at your natal chart, see where Aquarius is, because there's a whole bunch of energy and intensity in that area of life for you. So we've got that number one. But when it comes to the astrology of the day of the new moon, we've got two important transits. Number one is that the new moon, so meaning the sun and the moon conjunct in Aquarius, is going to be square to Uranus in Taurus, okay? And then number two, the new moon in Aquarius is going to be trine to the south node in Libra. So first, let's talk about this square to Uranus. This is really important because Uranus, like I said, is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So the fact that the new moon is going to be square to the ruler of Aquarius means that you should definitely expect the unexpected. Expect to be shaken out of your comfort zone. Expect for chance encounters, flashes of insight. And these flashes of insight, these chance encounters, they may not necessarily feel that comfortable because we're talking about a square. Squares denote tension and frustration. So this may be a time that may feel frustrating to you because it's like you want to adhere to the past. You want to stay in your comfort zone, but everything about this new moon is getting you to move out of your comfort zone, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So really, you have to remain flexible and you have to remain open-minded, because whatever is transpiring, no matter how unsettling, no matter how surprising, is really getting you to where you need to be. It's trying to get you to move into that space of the future, into planting those things that may not even exist right now, right? And to do so may feel a little uncomfortable. At some point in time, and like the opening quote for this video mentioned, everything that exists was once a crazy idea. And you being the author of that crazy idea may be met with resistance from others. Even within yourself, you may be conflicted because you're just like, this doesn't exist. How can I envision this? This doesn't make any sense. Am I crazy? Am I delusional? Stick to that vision, envision that future, because that is the reality that will transpire for you. All right. So that is the new moon square to Uranus and Taurus. So now at the same time, the new moon is also going to be trine to the South Node in Libra. South Node in Libra is cleaning house when it comes to relationships. Relationships that aren't equitable, that aren't fair, that aren't beautiful even. Anything that is not of your best interest relationship-wise is sort of being wiped clean. And so even though it's a new moon, and new moons are all about new beginnings, there's a certain element of endings that is coexisting with the energy of this new moon. Because what is not meant for you, especially relationship-wise, you kind of have to relinquish. You kind of have to let go. So I just said before, you're envisioning a wacky new future, right? And there may be some people that aren't on board with that. Remember I said earlier, the numerology of this new moon is the number 2, which is about partnerships. If you're going into the future and your partner is stuck in the past, that doesn't necessarily vibe well for where you're trying to go. So it may be time to revamp, rethink, restructure some of the relationships in your life. And the fact that the new moon is going to be trine to Libra is going to help you do just that. So that's the important astrology for this new moon in Aquarius. So now that we've gotten the technical stuff out of the way, let's talk manifestation and see exactly what we should be doing with the energy of this new moon. All right. So whenever we're talking about the new moon phase, this is when we're talking about manifestation. Like I said, the new moon phase is when you plant new seeds and you set new intentions, right? So one of the important things that I want to point out about Aquarian energy is that the key word for Aquarius is I know. So it's not I believe, it's not I think, it's I know. It is this grounded knowledge that you possess. So we're envisioning a wacky ass future, right? Whatever that may look like for you. So it's not enough to say I'm thinking about this future, or even I'm envisioning this future. It's I know that this is going to transpire. I know. I know that I'm going to invent a flying car. I know that I'm going to have the relationship of my dreams, even if I don't see any other relationships that look like that. You know, you're grounded in this knowing. So it's not enough to think. It's not enough to hope. You got to know. So when you're planting these seeds, this isn't the time to be wishy-washy or doubtful. This is like, listen, I'm planting the seed. I know I'm planting the seed. So how do we get to I know? Because we start off with, this would be nice, or I think this could happen. How do we get to I know? You have to retrain your brain. That's how you do this. So when it comes to manifesting under this new moon in Aquarius, this is the time when you want to reprogram your subconscious. This is the time when you want to improve your belief system. And you can do that in a variety of ways. You can do it with affirmations. You could do it with subliminals, right? You could do it with scripting. Whatever you need to do to change your belief to go from I think to I know is what you're going to want to do at this new moon in Aquarius. And I don't know if you can hear my dog, but she agrees with me. She's like, yes, I know I can disrupt this whole entire video. So excuse the noise. She's just wilding out right now. However, whatever you can do to get from I think to I know is what you're going to want to do for this new moon in Aquarius. All right. And so we're planting seeds of the future. So this is when you want to envision. This is when you want to create a master plan, a master game plan for what you want that future to look like. All right. So it's about envisioning. It's about reprogramming your belief system and going from I think to I know. All right. And of course, when it comes to new moon rituals, if you want to burn bay leaves, if you want to do some candle magic, if you want to do scripting, if you want to, whatever you are normally used to, you're going to want to do that, right? But you're going to infuse it with the vision of the future and with the energy of I know. All right. So now that we've talked manifestation, let's get some messages from spirit, which were quite interesting for this new moon in Aquarius. All right. So the messages that came through for this particular new moon in Aquarius were quite interesting. All right. So I've got my notes. So let's get into it. The first message that came through actually came through, I want to say about 2 days ago. During my meditation, this phrase kept repeating itself. And the phrase is, necessity is the mother of invention. And the word mother is highlighted. It's underlined. It is emphasized, right? It's this energy of the Empress. And when you think about the Empress in Tarot, you think about motherhood, but you think about birthing. And Spirit really wanted to emphasize this idea of birthing. You are literally birthing your future. The future is now, and now is the time of conception, okay? Now, necessity being the mother of invention, that phrase typically denotes the fact that you invent things that you need. It's necessity that is the impetus to allow you to invent new things. So if you find that this is a time when you can't find what you need, you're not experiencing what you need to get to the next step, it's probably because you are meant to invent it. You are meant to birth what it is that you need. So it's also this element of self-sufficiency. Remember I said before that Aquarius is rebelliousness. And rebelliousness has a very self-sufficient energy signature to it. So if you're finding that you're not experiencing what you need, it's because you need to invent it. Next, purification of the self and the soul. Creating a sacred space. You are the sacred space. And it's from this sacred space that you will birth these new things. So many of us need to clean up our physical temples, need to clean up our energetic fields because we are getting ready to conceive and getting ready to birth our realities, okay? You need to take a realistic look at yourself also. Kind of like when you're talking about your physical body, if you're trying to improve your health, you really need to take stock of where your health is currently. So many of us need to take a realistic look at our physical bodies, our energetic bodies, our spiritual, etheric bodies. And from there, we need to do the cleanup. That is where the purification is going to take place. Now, you need to find your true self and allow that true self to shine. That is how you're going to start to attract the people who are going to help you birth this future. Now, remember I said the numerology of this new moon is the number 2, right? Which denotes partnership. When we're talking about conception and birth, clearly we're talking about 2 people coming together, conceiving a child that will ultimately be born. So this conception stage, this conception stage, that's why this partnership is so important. By partnership, I don't necessarily mean romantic. This can be friends. This can be coworkers. This could be business partners, even family members that you may be working with to conceive a new future. All right. But that purification has to occur first. Next, apart from this whole partnership thing, at this very moment, the day of the new moon, this may be a time that requires isolation. Okay. Breaking out of the mold is going to be an inside job, and it may be a solitary job as well, okay? Quieting down, ignoring distractions, like my dog, and outside noise, not paying attention to what's going on in the news and the media, to whoever's outside your door barking, quieting down and allowing yourself to isolate, to figure out what it is that you're even trying to birth, to figure out what vision of the future you would like to have, okay? All right, next up. A wealth of knowledge is becoming apparent at this time. It's a new level of consciousness that requires personal growth and development, aka healing work. So that purification I was talking about before, it's healing, whether it's healing your physical body, healing your mind, healing your energetic body, your emotional body. You get the point, right? This is unlocking a new level, okay? And just like a video game, we're unlocking this new level with a cheat code, and the cheat code is healing, all right? So keep that in mind. Next up, Knowledge and information are the new currency, and the value of these things are going to skyrocket. I'm going to repeat that again. Knowledge and information are the new currency. The value of these things are going to skyrocket. Now, when it comes to the acquisition of knowledge and information, you're going to want to be bullish with this. Think of like a bull market when it comes to the stock market. You're going to be aggressive with the acquisition of knowledge, especially when it comes to knowledge of healing. Okay. Healing knowledge is going to be the new currency. So perhaps this is going to be a time when what you're giving birth to has to do with healing, has to do with helping others, serving humanity in a healing capacity. And this is the knowledge that you're going to want to stock up on now and start to acquire in a sort of aggressive manner beginning at this new moon in Aquarius. Okay. Now, once you've spent sufficient time in the cave, once you've spent sufficient time being the hermit and isolating, like I mentioned before, your light will attract the right others and alliances will form rather quickly. So, Aquarius ruled by Uranus, surprise and chance encounters. Once you isolate, figure out, cultivate, heal, purify, the right people are going to start to come to you really quickly and alliances will form quickly. Don't get scared. You're teaming up with people who you are meant to team up to make the dream work happen and to make that vision of the future become your reality. Okay? There's no need to confront or argue with the opposition. They are rooted at their level and aren't meant to go with you in the future. Now, remember I said there's a choice to be made. Stick with the future, stick with the past, or move into the future. Now, new moon, trine, south node, relationships that may not be vibing on that wavelength of the future, that is going to come into your purview. So you may have confrontations, you may have arguments, disagreements, or resistance with people who don't necessarily see your vision. They're not meant to see your vision. It's not their vision. They're rooted at their level in the past. Let them stay where they're at. Don't argue. Don't try to convince. Don't try to drag people along with you. When people show you where their beliefs are, believe them and leave them with their beliefs, especially if your beliefs differ and are taking you into the future. Okay. Whatever is done or ending right now is indeed over. Take solace in the fact that the worst is behind you. Self-explanatory. Assistance is here for you when you make the firm decision on where you're headed. But this assistance will be covert. It won't be obvious. Okay? So you really have to keep your eyes open. It's not like someone's going to have a neon sign talking about, I'm going to help you. Again, this may be surprising and it also may be covert, all right? So what may appear to be a blessing in disguise may present itself. A chance encounter with someone who may be very different than what you expect or anticipate may be just the person you need to help you build the future that you're currently conceiving, okay? Choose, be decisive, and watch the tables start to turn. Self-explanatory. And the last message, all hope is not lost. Keep your eyes to the sky and your heart open. All right. Interesting messages, but important messages nonetheless for this new moon in Aquarius. So hopefully those messages found who they needed to find. All right, my loves. So that concludes this video on the upcoming new moon in Aquarius. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you could use, not only going into this new moon, but definitely going into the future and beyond. For information on my products and services, all of that is listed below in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy new moon in Aquarius, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.